Hello Kanna, I hope that you all are fit and fine, and let me tell you that I am completely fine as well. In the previous class we had discussed about income tax law. I had told you that income tax law and income tax act is not one and the same. Income tax act is only a part of the income tax law, and income tax law is a much wider term and it has other parts also. The first and the major part is only income tax act. In the last class we had discussed about the Income Tax Act. I told you that Income Tax Act was passed in the Parliament in 1961 and it came into force from 1/4/1962. Okay. Income Tax Act contains chapters, sections and schedules. Chapter is nothing but a group of sections. Sections start from 1 to 298. But there are not 298 sections, there are way more than 298 sections in the Income Tax Act. The sections only contain the language or provisions of the Income Tax Act. And there are schedules. Schedules contain some additional information which belong to the Income Tax Act. Now, how to read a section? I had told you with example in the last class that while reading a section, first you have to tell section number, then subpart of a section is called subsection, subpart of a subsection is called clause, and subpart of a clause is called subclause. So if you read something like this in your question paper, you will read this term as section 6, subsection 1, clause A, subclause 2. Okay. However, subsection should always be related to each other. It means what? Only if you read all the subsections together, you will get the complete meaning of the section. However, sometimes there will be two subsections which are not at all linked to each other, which will be talking about two independent topics. For example, in section 2, we discussed in the last class, it is the definition section. In definition section, the different subparts only contain the different definitions. One definition is not related to the other definition. Hence, both these subparts cannot be called as subsection. Hence, you have to directly call them as clause. Hence, when you pronounce section 2, you will always use the term section 2, clause 1, subclause A. You got my point? Now, sections might also have proviso and explanations. What is proviso? Proviso means some exceptions or conditions that are given in a particular section. The proviso mostly starts with the word provided. Okay. Then comes explanation. Explanation means a clarification which is given in a particular section, which gives out additional meaning or complete meaning to that particular section. It helps you to understand that section better. Now let us move on to the other components of income tax law. So there are 4 other components remaining which we are going to cover in this video itself. Firstly, let us talk about the second component, which is the Annual Finance Act. Kanna, you might have heard most of your friends telling or your seniors telling that the Income Tax Act or the income tax subject changes every single attempt. Okay, after 6 months itself the syllabus will change, so you have to be updated with the income tax provision so that you can answer in your examinations correctly. However, I told you in the last class that Income Tax Act was passed in 1961, that is so many years back. Then how come there is changes every single year? Answer is because of the Annual Finance Act. This Annual Finance Act, like any other act in the Parliament, is passed by the Parliament. It is passed every single year, and its purpose is to amend the Income Tax Act. Sir, what is amend? Amend means change. So the purpose of the Annual Finance Act is to change the Income Tax Act and also to give the tax rates. Okay. So Income Tax Act will be changed with the help of Annual Finance Act. Sir, how is this Annual Finance Act passed? Every year on 1st February there will be budget. Correct? During this budget, the finance minister will introduce annual finance bill. Finance bill. I told you before itself that before becoming an act, a law will be called what? It will be called bill. Okay. So now this bill will be first passed in the Lok Sabha, then it will be passed in the Rajya Sabha, then it will go to the President, and then he will put his signatures, and after his signature is done, it will become Finance Act. And let me tell you a fun fact that Annual Finance Act is passed every single year. However, whenever there is Lok Sabha elections, that is the year of general elections, it is passed two times. For example, this year itself, that is 2024, was the year of general elections, correct? Hence, there are two Finance Act kana. And what are both the Finance Act called? The first Finance Act, which came in February, is called Finance Act number 1 of 2024. And the second Finance Act, which came in July, because of which your study material got delayed, because of which this batch has also started a little bit late, is called what? Finance Act number 2, which brought so many changes in the income tax subject. It is called Finance Act number 2 of 2024. Okay. So when you are going to write your examinations, that is in May 25, September 25 and January 2026, you have to study both Finance Act number 1 and Finance Act number 2 of 2024, because it was the year of Lok Sabha elections. So what is the Finance Act? Finance Act is passed every single year by the Parliament, and the purpose of the Finance Act is to change the Income Tax Act and also to give the tax rates. The Finance Act contains several parts: Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. However, I am not going to explain these parts now. First, let me take the relevant concept, and after that you will be able to understand these parts. Okay. Now, you might get a question. Sir, this Annual Finance Act is passed in the month of February, and in the case of elections, it is passed two times in the year. And in this Annual Finance Act only, Income Tax Act is changed. Sir, but is it the only way to change the Income Tax Act? Is there no other way to change the Income Tax Act? Answer is no, Karna. Annual Finance Act is only one of the ways in which the Income Tax Act can be changed. However, it is not the only way. For example, you all know that 2020 was the year of pandemic. Correct? Was the year of pandemic. So, in such cases, it is very, very necessary that to give relief to the people, you have to change the law so that the people can have some time, so that they can stay at home. They can stay at home during the lockdown, and after the lockdown, they can do the necessary procedures that is given in the Income Tax Act. So, to provide this relief, will the Finance Minister wait till the budget? Will the Finance Minister wait till the budget? Answer is no. The Finance Minister would definitely want to bring all the changes immediately. Hence, the Finance Minister will bring Taxation Law Amendment Act. Taxation Law Amendment Act. Sir, will the name always be Taxation Law Amendment Act? Answer is no, Karna. The name can be whatever the government wants to call it. Okay. So it can be any name, but the point that I was trying to tell is that if you want to change the Income Tax Act, then Finance Act is only one of the ways to change the Income Tax Act. However, if the government wants to change the Income Tax Act in between the year, then also they can change it. This I have given here. The Income Tax Act can also be amended through other acts such as Taxation Law Amendment Act. Okay. So here you be very, very careful. So this was the Annual Finance Act. Now let us talk about the income tax rules. Income tax rules. Sir, what is income tax rules? Income tax rules are the rules which is given by CBDT. What is the full form of CBDT? Central Board of Direct Taxes. Central Board of Direct Taxes, or Pasama we can call it Income Tax Department. Okay. with affection, we can call it Income Tax Department. So the layman language, CBDT is called Income Tax Department, but for CA students, it is Central Board of Direct Taxes. You should not call it Income Tax Department. What you should call? You should call it Central Board of Direct Taxes. Okay. So what is the purpose of this rules, Kanna? You might be wondering that whatever provisions are there that can be brought in the Income Tax Act itself, then what is the purpose of separate rules? And the separate rules is also given by a separate body. Let me give you an example. Let's say the Income Tax Act tells that if an income has both agricultural element and business element, if the income consists of both agriculture as well as business, then you have to separate both. You have to separate both the incomes. You cannot tax the agricultural income because it is totally exempt or not taxable in the Income Tax Act, and business income will be taxed in the Income Tax Act. Now, for these minute things, the Act will just tell that now you should separate the agricultural income and business income. Don't tax the agricultural income and just tax the business income. Okay. Now the ministers or the parliament is not having that much time that for each and every matter they can decide the minor rules. So what they will do in the Act, they will use the word as may be prescribed. They will use the word as may be prescribed in the Act. So for example, they will tell that separation of agricultural income and business income will be as may be prescribed. Wherever this word as may be prescribed is there, it means this power is given to CBDT to make the rules. Then CBDT is the Central Board of Direct Taxes, which will sit with all its members, and it will decide how to separate this agricultural income and business income. Okay. I'll give you an example. When it comes to tea, okay, if a person is engaged in growing and manufacturing of tea, then this contains agriculture also, and it contains business also. Now, whenever there is a sale of tea, it contains both agricultural income as well as business income. Then how to separate this agriculture with business? For this, the CBDT has given a rule. Let me show you that rule. This rule is called rule number 8. Income from manufacture of tea. See here. Income derived from sale of tea grown and manufactured by seller in India shall be computed as if it were income derived from business, and 40% of such income shall be deemed to be liable to tax. So in this rule, what they are telling, that whenever you are growing tea, then you have to divide the income into two parts. Okay. So 60% will be agricultural income and 40% will be business income. This is given in the income tax rules. Now, to make the rules, the government or the ministers or member of parliament will not be having the time. Hence, they will give the power to CBDT to make the rules. So, power to make the rules is given to whom? CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes. So, rules also will be like sections only, Kanna. So, similar to sections, even rules will have sub-rules, clauses, provisos and explanation. Okay. What is the purpose of the rule? To carry out the purpose of the act. So what is the use of the rule? To carry out the purpose of the act. So to facilitate the Income Tax Act. I'll give you one more example. The Income Tax Act only tells that whenever you are having a fixed asset, then you have to provide depreciation. And the rate of depreciation will be as may be prescribed. For this depreciation rate, you will not find it in the Income Tax Act. You will find it in the Income Tax rules. where CBDT has given the rate for depreciation. You get my points? So this is the use of income tax rules. The power to draft and publish the income tax rules is with CBDT, or Central Board of Direct Taxes. And the use of this income tax rule is to carry out the purpose of the Income Tax Act. Now let us talk about the fourth component, that is circular and notification. Circular and notification. So I have given circular and notification, both of them side by side, because many students confuse circular and notification with each other. So it is better that while learning first time itself, we will learn it by differentiating it with each other. Okay. So what is circular? What is notification? First and foremost, circular is given by CBDT. Circular is given by CBDT, whereas notification can be given by the central government also, CBDT also. Okay, circular is only given by CBDT. What is the use of the circular? The use of the circular is to clarify doubts or to solve problems. Clarify doubts or to solve problems. See Kanna, let's say there is an Income Tax Act. In that there is one section. That section is a little confusing, hence the public is not able to understand that particular section, and it is creating confusion among the public. Now, you might say that to clear this confusion, the Income Tax Act can have an explanation inside that section, and hence there will be clarity. However, bringing an explanation is a very difficult process, Kanna, because to bring that explanation, firstly, the bill has to be introduced in the parliament. That bill has to be passed in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President's signature, and after that only that explanation can come into force. But the public cannot wait that much because it is too long a procedure. So to deal with this issue, what the government has a bypass. What do? They ask CBDT to give circular. So in circulars, what will CBDT do? They will give guidance to solve that particular problem or to give clarity on the particular issue. They will sometimes issue frequently asked questions, so that if a person is having questions in their mind, they can read the question and they can get the answer to their doubts. So this is only the purpose of circulars. Okay. However, what is the right method? The right method is to bring explanation in the Income Tax Act. Correct? Because the power to change the law is with whom? It is only with the parliament. The CBDT does not have the power to create the law. That is why the circular is not binding on assessee. Not binding means what? Not compulsory. Assessee means what? We are going to learn assessee in detail in the coming classes, but for now you just understand assessee means taxpayer. Since CBDT is not having the power to change the law, hence the circulars which is given by CBDT, it is not compulsory for us to follow. But since CBDT themselves are giving the circular, it is binding on CBDT. It means since they themselves are giving that guidance, hence it is compulsory for them to follow that circular. You get my point? So circular is given by CBDT. Why is it given? It is given to solve the problems or to clarify the doubts. It is not binding on assessee. It means we need not follow. It is binding on CBDT. It means what? CBDT should definitely follow that circular. Okay. Hence, whenever we see circulars, if we see that the circular is beneficial for us, definitely we can take the advantage for the beneficial circular. Sir, what if circular is not beneficial for us? Is it okay if we do not follow the circular? Answer is yes, it is okay if you do not follow the circular, but at the same time, you should be ready to fight with the department, because the department will have one point of view, you will have another point of view, and you have to fight with each other and see who will win, whose point of view will win, and it will be applicable to whom. Okay. About this fighting, I will tell you in a few minutes. Fine. Now let's come to notification. Notification is very formal, Kanna. Why is notification given? Notification is given by central government as well as CBDT. For central government, they give notification to implement the provisions of the act, and CBDT uses the notification to implement the rules. Okay, so to implement the rules. Sir, but if notification is given by CBDT, should we follow the notification? Answer is yes. Definitely you have to follow the notification, because in the act it will be given as may be prescribed. It means what? CBDT has the official power to make the rules. Since they are having the power to make the rules, and the rules will be brought out in the form of notification, so you have to definitely follow the notification. Hence, it is binding for all. Binding for all. Let me summarize both of them for you. Circular can be brought out by CBDT. Notification can be brought out by central government as well as CBDT. Circular are given to clarify the doubts or to solve the problems, but notification is given to implement the act for central government and implement the rules for CBDT. Then circular is binding only on CBDT, not binding on assessee, but notification is binding on everybody, CBDT as well as assessee. You get my point? So I hope you are clear with the difference between circular and notification, which is the fourth component. Now let us jump to the last component, which is about fighting, which is decision by courts, or you can also call this as judiciary. You can call this what? Judiciary. Okay. Now, can there be a case where my point of view is different and income tax department point of view is different? Answer is yes. I might think that the law meaning is something, they might think that the meaning of law is something else, or there might be some other problem also. If at all there is a problem, then me and income tax department will fight with each other, correct? This fight will be through the judiciary. So how will we fight? Firstly, this is not there in your syllabus, so you are very lucky that decision by courts does not form part of your syllabus. It will be a part of your final syllabus, but still, just for your general understanding, let me explain. So firstly, the assessee. Assessee means what? I told you, assessee means taxpayer. The taxpayer will fight with assessing officer. Assessing officer means income tax officer. Okay, income tax officer. In this, assessee can win, income tax officer can also win. Let's say assessee did not win, he lost the case. Now what to do? Should he accept it? Answer is, it is the assessee's choice. Either assessee can accept it or he can go to next level. The next level is called appeal stage. The next level is called what? Appeals. So in appeals also, assessee can get one more chance to fight with the income tax department, give some more points on his behalf, so that now he can try to win the case. In this also, if he does not win, then next level is called tribunal. Okay, so here also assessee can fight one more time. Here if he won the case, well and good. If he did not win the case, he can go to the next level. The next level is called high court. High court, and here also if there is no relief, the assessee can go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court is also called as apex court. So don't get confused if you see the term apex court. Both Supreme Court and apex court means one and the same. Okay. Sir, what if assessee wins? Can department go to appeal? Answer is yes. Department can also go to appeal, Kanna. So if you won, then you should not be happy, because department also has the chance to go to the next stage. So if you win, you can leave it, department can go to appeal, and if you lose, you can also go to appeal. Okay. So both parties have the right to go to the next stage till the Supreme Court stage. Now, why is judiciary a component of income tax law? You might think. See here assessee is fighting with the assessing officer. It means what? Let's say I am the assessee, I am fighting with the income tax department. Now, this case is between me and the department. In such case, why does this form a part of the income tax law, you might think? Why is it relevant for everybody else? It is just fight between me and department, correct? Answer is no. Because when the case goes to high court, and if I win the case in high court, then my victory is not only applicable to me, it is applicable to the entire state. For example, in Tamil Nadu, the High Court is called Madras High Court. In Madras High Court, if I win the case against the income tax department, then that decision is not only applicable to me, that decision will be applicable to the entire state of Tamil Nadu. Okay. Similarly, if I go to the last stage, that is Supreme Court stage, and if I win the case, then the decision which is given by Supreme Court is not only applicable to me, it is applicable to the entire country. So, High Court and Supreme Court judgments are very, very important because they are not only applicable to the person involved, they are also applicable to the respective state or country. You get my point? Sir, does it mean that all these other stages are not important? These stages are also important because although they are not applicable to everyone else, they are only applicable to the person concerned. However, you can read these cases and you can get inspiration to fight your own case. Okay. Hence, it is important to see the cases in tribunal also. Okay. So this is only judiciary Kanna. So if there is a decision in High Court, it is applicable to the state. If there is a decision in Supreme Court, it is applicable to India, and all the other stages, it is only applicable to the respective persons. That is the assessee and income tax department. Now, in Supreme Court, one case that we will be learning, which will be a part of our syllabus, will be B.C. Srinivasa Shetty. And one High Court case that we will be learning is Manjula J. Shah. So whenever we will be reading about these two cases, then you will have even more clarity about the judiciary and how it is applicable inside the state or inside the country. So these are the components of income tax law Kanna. I hope you are clear with all the components. The next concept we will discuss in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.